What's up everybody, welcome back. I just recently bought this camper shell and so far I've liked it. Looks good, I got it color matched. I have a whole camping setup that I'm planning on doing inside, but there is still a little bit of wiring that I need to do. The shell actually has a third brake light right there that I need to wire up, as well as an interior dome light. So if it's dark and I need to get something out of the bed, I need to be able to see. So this is the third brake light right here, and then inside right here you have the dome light. It comes with the wiring, but I don't really have this other end because I bought this used, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this connector off and I'm going to put my own connector on. So what I'm going to do today is show you how to wire up the third brake light as well as the interior dome light. Let's get started. So there's a couple things that I'm going to need for this install. The first is obviously going to be the connector. This side is going to go up and replace this one, and then this piece of the connector is going to tap into the brake light as well as the constant power source coming from the battery. You'll need some pliers or wire strippers. I'm gonna add a fuse in just to make sure that there's some surge protection for the interior dome light. And this is where I get a little bit more involved. I like my connections to be really solid, so I'm gonna be soldering my connections together. You don't have to solder all together if you don't want to. I just do it because I personally think that it's a better connection. You can just get some wire taps and just clamp those on, or you could cut the wire and splice it. As long as it has that solid connection, you should be fine. But I plan on holding onto this truck for a long time, so I want the wiring and the electrical to be solid. So the third brake light up top on the shell is going to be wired to the brake light right here. We'll just splice into the wiring on this tail light and it should work just fine. And then the other two wires are going to be for the dome light. So one is going to be connected directly to the battery so that it has constant power if I want to, and I can still use it when the truck is off. The other one's going to be the negative, obviously, and then you have the positive and negative for the third brake light. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so first step on this is going to be getting rid of the old connection. So we'll just grab the wire clippers, snip that off, and then we'll need to strip these back a little bit. And then on this connector that's going to replace the connector we took off of here, you're just going to decide which one's going to be for the brake light and which one's going to be for the dome light. Alright, so once the connector is taken off, we'll wire this up to the tail light. So you need to take the tail light out, you just have the two bolts right there. So the tail light just pops out. There's two little tabs that sit in there. You just pull on the tail light and it'll pop out after you take the two bolts off. And the two wires that we're going to be concerned with is the green and red wire, which is going to be the top one right there. That's the positive, and then you have the white and black one, that's the negative. So we're going to splice into those two, and that'll wire up the third brake light. Okay, so I've done it for the positive one. I just cut into the wire and cut around it, and then I spliced that brown positive wire from the connector into that, and I soldered it on. I've trimmed the white wire down, which will be the ground, and we'll take the wire from the harness, wrap it around this negative wire right here, solder that on, tape it up, and then that should be everything for the third brake light. So the green and yellow are going to be for the dome light, and then if we come underneath the truck, that green wire is just sitting right here, and that goes up along the frame. I connected it with some extra wire to run it all the way along the length of the frame. So that runs up there, and up here in the front you can see that wire coming right there. Goes up right there into the engine bay, and then from the engine bay it comes up. You've got this inline fuse just to make sure there's no power surges that would come to the battery. And we'll take this positive end, connect it to the positive battery terminal, and that should be good enough for the dome light. And then with this ground right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a self-tapping screw and I'm going to just tap it into right there to ground it out. Got that grounded out right there. Okay, so we've got these wires all soldered together. The brake light goes to the white and brown wire. The dome light goes to the yellow and green wire. Runs into this connector right here. And then I ran it through this hole right here. And these pegs for this little compartment go inside of there, and it'll still fit even if these wires are going through there. So it'll shut just fine, and then I'll just have the wires coming out when I'm using it. And then when I take the shell off, I can disconnect it right there. And this will just hang out inside this box. This is what it looks like when it's all cleaned up and wired. So you've got the wires coming out from right here. The connector is inside the box right here. Got some wires coming out, but you can see it still closes just fine. When the brake lights are on, that third brake light is illuminated. This one's obviously missing a few lights. It's got some LEDs out, but they're pretty cheap to buy on Amazon, so I'll probably swap that out as well. And for the light, flip the switch, and that turns on and off, regardless of if the truck is actually on or off. So that's how I wired up the third brake light as well as the dome light in my truck. Like I said, I wanted the ability to be able to just flip that light on whenever I wanted to, and that's the way I did it. Thanks a ton for watching, guys. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. I'll see you around.